What if everything you've been taught about manifestation is a lie? Forget vision boards, forget rituals, affirmations, and the exhausting mental gymnastics of thinking positive while your body screams in fear. The truth is, the way most people are trying to manifest their desires is the exact reason they stay stuck. Not because they don't want it badly enough, but because they're playing the wrong game. The real mechanics of manifestation don't operate on surface-level effort. They respond to internal coherence. And coherence isn't a vibe. It's a full-body broadcast. It's not about what you say you want. It's about what your entire system is already aligned with. Most people are trying to force reality to change while staying exactly the same inside. They don't realize the quantum field doesn't respond to hope, desperation, or hustle. It responds to clarity, stillness, congruence. That's the part no one talks about, because it's too simple to sell. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you feel it, everything starts to shift. The quantum field doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't respond to your wish lists, your 5-year plan, or how many times you write, "I am abundant," in a journal. It doesn't speak English. It speaks energy. And right now, you're already entangled with every version of reality that could ever exist. Yes, even the one you want so badly but keep trying to chase. That version of you, the one with the freedom, the love, the abundance, the peace, it's already real. It already exists. The only thing standing between you and that reality is alignment, pure, internal, undeniable coherence with it. You don't attract that version by begging for it. You collapse into it by becoming the frequency that matches it. But that's where most people get stuck, because they've been trained to think manifestation is about doing, visualizing more, scripting more, meditating harder, performing positivity like it's a talent show. They're efforting towards something that doesn't respond to effort, because in the quantum model, effort is friction. Chasing implies lack. Wanting becomes a signal of not having. And so the field mirrors exactly that. Not abundance, but the pursuit of it. Here's the shift no one teaches. Manifestation isn't about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you already are in the timeline where it exists. And that's not about acting as if or faking it until you make it. That's about collapsing into the truth of your being. That's about embodying the inner state, physically, emotionally, energetically, that already resonates with that reality. Not once, not for 5 minutes during a morning routine, but as a living, breathing signal. That's why when people say manifestation doesn't work, what they're really saying is, I was trying to change the world while staying the same inside. But your identity is the anchor point. Your subconscious beliefs, your nervous system patterns, your default emotional state, that is what the field is listening to. Not your words, not your Pinterest boards, not your scripted affirmations. Your signal isn't what you say, it's what you are. And if your current version of self is still vibrating in scarcity, fear, shame, or constant grasping, the quantum field can only reflect that reality back to you. That's why letting go is so powerful. Because the moment you stop trying to get it, you stop sending out the signal that says you don't have it. And in that moment of surrender, the field receives something different. A calm, clear, anchored presence. A being who no longer needs to grip. That's when it responds. That's when timelines collapse. Some of what you need to understand goes far deeper than what this platform allows. For those who are ready, we've created Insights Academy, a free newsletter where we share what can't always be said here. And for a limited time, when you join, you'll also receive a free digital copy of the Kybalion, link in the description. The truth is, the version of you that already has what you want doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't grasp. They embody, they radiate. They exist in a timeline where the desire is already normalized, already integrated. And the only thing they did to access that reality was align themselves with it, not by force, but by becoming the coherent signal the field could respond to without confusion. Because confusion in you creates distortion in the field, and distortion leads to delay, effort, burnout, and disillusionment. You've been told to chase your dream, but chasing keeps it separate. In the language of the quantum, what you pursue becomes what you affirm you don't already have. You don't chase your aligned reality. You collapse the version of you that lives inside it, not by thinking harder, but by being clearer. The field isn't moved by noise, it's moved by resonance, and you are already the instrument. The question is, are you in tune? In the quantum world, nothing becomes real until it is observed. This isn't a spiritual metaphor, it's physics. At the subatomic level, particles don't exist in one place or one form. They exist as probability waves, infinite potentials, until an observer collapses them into a fixed state. This is called the observer effect. It's one of the most mysterious and undeniable principles in quantum mechanics. And you, whether you realize it or not, are the observer. But here's the part most people miss. The observer isn't just your conscious mind. It's not just what you think about or visualize. It's your entire system, your subconscious, your nervous system, your emotional baseline, your beliefs about what's safe, possible, or allowed. That's the real observer. And that's what's collapsing your reality right now. You might consciously want abundance, but if your nervous system is bracing for loss, the field picks up on that. If your subconscious still believes you have to struggle to earn love or success, that's the signal it reads. The field doesn't listen to your fantasies, it listens to your default. This is why people say things like, "I'm doing everything right, but nothing's changing," because their thoughts are trying to pull them one way, but their body is pulling another. They're saying, "I am worthy," while their breath is shallow and tight, their heart guarded, their shoulders curled inward. The quantum doesn't care about your words. It mirrors your signal. And when your signal is fragmented, so is your reality. That's why coherence matters so much. Coherence means that all parts of you, mind, body, emotion, energy, are moving in the same direction. That your thoughts, feelings, and actions are aligned. That your nervous system isn't in fight or flight while you're trying to manifest peace. That your subconscious isn't rehearsing trauma while you're visualizing a happy ending. Coherence is what makes you magnetic to the timeline you're trying to collapse into form. But let's be clear, this isn't about blaming you for your struggles. It's about reclaiming your power. You were never taught how to regulate your state. You were taught to override it, to push through, to suppress, to perform worthiness instead of embodying it. So it's no surprise that your field is filled with static. Your signal's been scrambled by years of conditioning. This is not your fault, but it is your responsibility now, because the moment you see it, you can start to change it. The observer effect means that your reality will reflect not what you consciously wish for, but what your system is attuned to. That's the twist. You are constantly manifesting, just not always what you want. You're manifesting what your subconscious believes is safe, what your nervous system can tolerate, what your identity can hold. So if you've been stuck in loops, relationships that feel the same, money that slips through your fingers, constant striving with little reward, it's not because you're broken. It's because your observer is wired to collapse those loops over and over again until you change the signal. And changing the signal doesn't start with doing more. It starts with seeing more, becoming aware of what you're broadcasting when you're not even trying. What does your body do when you talk about success? Does it open or tighten? What emotions rise when you imagine being fully seen? Expansion or fear? These micro signals are shaping your reality. You don't need to fake positivity. You need to become clear. And clarity comes not from pretending you feel safe, but from learning how to actually feel safe in a new identity. The most powerful shifts happen not when you force change, but when you become a safe enough container to allow it. When your subconscious no longer sees expansion as a threat, when your nervous system can finally relax into what you say you desire, that's when the observer shifts. That's when the field mirrors something new. Not because you mastered the perfect morning routine, but because you stopped sending mixed signals. You stopped broadcasting fear disguised as ambition. You stopped performing alignment and started becoming it. Reality is not fixed. You are not stuck. But the observer effect makes one thing absolutely clear. The version of you doing the observing is the one creating the outcome. Shift that, and everything else follows. Most manifestation teachings are built on fragments. They take one piece of a much deeper system and sell it as the whole truth. Think positive, repeat affirmations, visualize, raise your vibration. Feel good, and good things will come. But when you're still struggling after months of doing everything right, when your life still looks the same while your journal is full of intentions, no one talks about that part. You're left wondering what's wrong with you. Maybe you're not trying hard enough. Maybe your energy is blocked. Maybe the universe is testing you. But what if the method itself is incomplete? Here's the hard truth most people don't want to hear. The popular version of manifestation is a watered-down product of spiritual consumerism. It focuses on appearance, not substance. It teaches you how to perform worthiness without ever helping you feel worthy. It tells you to script a better future while your nervous system is still locked in survival. It tells you to raise your vibration without showing you how to process the grief, fear, or shame that's dragging that vibration down. It teaches you how to bypass your reality, not integrate it. And bypassing is just another form of resistance dressed up as spirituality. The problem isn't the tools, it's the lack of depth. Thoughts matter, emotions matter, intention matters. But if your subconscious is still broadcasting fear, if your emotional body is still echoing trauma, if your nervous system is still wired for self-protection, the quantum field doesn't receive your intention. It receives your state. That's why affirmations feel hollow, why visualizations fade, why vision boards get dusty. Because underneath all the beautiful imagery is a body that doesn't feel safe to receive what the mind is trying to create. The truth is, your manifestation practice will only ever be as effective as the level of coherence between your inner layers. What you think, what you feel, what you believe, and what your body can hold. That's the full signal the field responds to. And most teachings only focus on one layer, usually the mental one, because it's the easiest to access. But the field isn't just listening to your conscious thoughts. It's tuned into your entire being, your subconscious patterns, your emotional residues, your physiological defaults. All of it is part of the transmission. And if those parts are sending mixed messages, the signal becomes fragmented. The result? Delay, frustration, efforting, loops. Most teachings also don't prepare you for the emotional discomfort of change. Everyone talks about manifesting abundance, but no one talks about how unsafe abundance can feel to someone who grew up in scarcity. No one talks about the guilt that can come with receiving more than your parents had, or the loneliness of outgrowing your current circle. No one talks about how identity resists change, even when it's for the better. This is why transformation doesn't happen in your vision board. It happens in your nervous system. If your body still associates expansion with threat, no affirmation will override that. And the quantum doesn't override it either. It mirrors it. This is where most people give up. They think manifestation doesn't work. But what they really mean is, I haven't been shown how to align my full system. They've been given tools that scratch the surface but never reach the roots. So they loop, trying harder, repeating more affirmations, buying more courses, still stuck, not because they're broken, but because the methods are incomplete. It's not your fault. The way manifestation is usually taught is digestible, marketable, and easy to package, but it's not designed to transform you. Real transformation is messy. It's deep. It requires you to meet the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, the parts that don't believe, the parts that are still grieving, the parts that are terrified of receiving what you say you want. And until those parts are seen, felt, integrated, your signal stays noisy. The field stays confused. You don't need more techniques. You need less distortion, less noise, Less contradiction between your words and your body, your goals and your beliefs, your dreams and your daily habits. Manifestation isn't about stacking more tools on top of a shaky foundation. It's about stabilizing the foundation so that the tools actually work. And the foundation is you, your nervous system, your emotional landscape, your subconscious identity. Until you get those aligned, you're just decorating a house that's still under construction. The walls don't hold. The energy leaks out. The timeline collapses back into the old one. That's not because you're bad at manifesting. It's because you're manifesting from misalignment. And that's not your fault, but now it's your responsibility. You've heard the word before, coherence. But in the context of quantum manifestation, it isn't a buzzword or a metaphor. It's the silent force behind every timeline you've ever stepped into, knowingly or not. Coherence isn't about good vibes or faking confidence. It's not about repeating high-frequency words while your insides feel like static. It's about alignment, deep, visceral, multi-layered alignment between your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and your identity. When those layers start playing the same song, the field doesn't need convincing. It moves, it mirrors, it organizes itself around you. The quantum field doesn't respond to language, it responds to signal clarity. That's what coherence actually means. No mixed messages. No contradiction between what you think and what you feel, between what you want and what you expect, between what you say and what you embody. Most people are walking around broadcasting a fractured signal. They say they're ready for expansion while their nervous system is still bracing for disappointment. They visualize wealth while feeling guilty every time they spend. They affirm love while shrinking away from intimacy. The field receives every bit of that conflict. It's not punishing you, it's reflecting you. The only way to change the reflection is to change the signal. That doesn't mean controlling your every thought, it means integrating the parts of you that are resisting what you say you want. Because those parts aren't wrong. They're protecting you. They're trying to keep you safe, even if it means keeping you small. And until they feel safe in a new frequency, they'll keep pulling you back. That's why people self-sabotage. It's not sabotage, it's misalignment. It's your system trying to stay coherent with a past version of you that believed safety meant limitation. Coherence begins when you stop treating your internal resistance as an obstacle and start listening to it as information. When you start regulating your nervous system not to perform better but to feel safer. When you start feeling your emotions instead of bypassing them with positive thinking. That's when things begin to shift. Not in theory, in reality. Here's where it gets real. Most people spend their entire lives trying to get the external world to give them permission to feel what they want to feel. They chase money to feel secure. They chase love to feel worthy. They chase status to feel seen. But the quantum doesn't work like that. It flips the order. Feel it first. Embody it first. Become the version of you who already feels safe, worthy, and seen now, before anything changes. That's coherence. And that's when reality starts organizing itself to match your frequency, not the other way around. The tricky part? Coherence is not built through willpower. You can't force it. You create it by regulating your state, by noticing the subtle contractions in your body when you declare something new, by choosing stillness over reactivity, by becoming emotionally fluent, not just in joy and hope, but in grief, in anger, in shame. Coherence doesn't mean constant positivity. It means emotional honesty, the ability to hold your full experience without breaking your signal. Think about the last time something truly shifted in your life, the kind of moment where it felt like reality restructured around you. It probably didn't happen after a visualization or affirmation marathon. It probably happened after a deep internal shift, after a breakdown, a surrender, a moment of truth where everything inside you finally came into agreement. That's coherence. And it's powerful because it's real. This is why people who are deeply embodied in who they are tend to shift rooms, draw opportunities, attract synchronicities. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's the field responding to a clear signal. That kind of clarity isn't loud. It's quiet. It's anchored. It doesn't need to scream, because the field hears everything. Coherence is the difference between trying and being in the quantum field is what collapses timelines. When you become the version of you that no longer needs to chase, hustle, prove, or convince, the field stops seeing you as someone trying to get something. It sees you as someone who already is, and it starts matching you, effortlessly. Letting go isn't weakness. It's not passivity, and it's definitely not giving up. In the realm of quantum manifestation, letting go is a kind of mastery, an act of profound trust that signals to the field that you finally understand how this all works. Because the moment you release the need, you stop reinforcing the absence, you stop echoing the lack. And that's when the field starts to move, not toward what you want, but toward who you've become in the absence of needing it. This is the paradox that unravels everything we've been taught. The less you grip, the more it flows. Not because the universe rewards detachment, but because attachment is energetic, static. It's the emotional signature of fear, of desperation, of control. And control is always rooted in one core belief: I don't trust. When you don't trust the process, the timeline, or yourself, you grip tighter. And the tighter you grip, the more you signal to the field that you are not yet the version of you who has what you say you want. You are still in separation, still broadcasting distance. And so the field mirrors that distance back to you, not out of cruelty, but precision. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning your desires. It means releasing your obsession with outcomes. It means anchoring yourself so deeply in the now that the future no longer holds your happiness hostage. The truth is, most people are not manifesting, they're bargaining. They're saying, I'll feel worthy when I get the thing. I'll feel peace once it shows up. But that emotional dependency is what blocks the very timeline they're trying to attract. The field doesn't respond to need, it responds to embodiment. The irony is painful and beautiful. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you start attracting. Because chasing says, it's not here yet. I don't trust it will come. I must force it. That's the energetic language of separation. Letting go, on the other hand, says, I already am. I already have. I'm safe, whole, and complete, even in the waiting. That's the language of alignment. And the field listens to that with total neutrality. It doesn't play favorites. It mirrors your dominant signal, always. The real question is this: are you willing to stop needing the outcome in order to become aligned with it? Can you be okay without it, not as a performance, but as a truth? Can you sit in the space between intention and manifestation without filling it with fear? That space is sacred. It's the void. And the void is where timelines take shape, not through force, but through frequency. It's where you meet yourself, where you become the person who no longer defines their worth by whether the desire shows up. This is why letting go often feels like a death, because it is. It's the death of control, the death of identity wrapped around the chase, the death of the old self who only knew how to survive through striving. But in that death, there's room for something else: clarity, stillness, and most of all, receptivity. The field can't deliver to a clenched fist. It responds to the open palm. And that's what letting go really is. It's not walking away. It's opening up. You've been told your whole life that success comes from holding on tighter, pushing harder, doing more. But in this realm, that logic collapses. Here, the less you try to own it, the more you become it. Here, surrender isn't defeat, it's power. Because when you let go, you step out of the ego's timeline and into the soul's. And the soul doesn't chase. It remembers. It aligns. It receives. If you're constantly checking, doubting, adjusting, tweaking your energy to make something happen, you're still trying to control it. And control keeps you in the illusion of separation. Letting go brings you back to unity. It tells the field, I am no longer the seeker. I am the signal. And in that moment, everything begins to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became clear enough for the field to recognize you. This is where most teachings end, at the theory, at the lofty ideas about how the universe works, how energy responds to thought, how feelings shape form. But if theory doesn't translate into practice, it stays as fantasy. What we need now isn't more information. It's embodiment, integration, the kind that shows up in your breath, your posture, your nervous system, your reactions to life. Because manifestation doesn't happen in your mind. It happens in your moment-to-moment choices. The ones no one sees. The ones that either confirm who you used to be or collapse you into who you've become. You are manifesting all the time. Not through force or effort, but through resonance. Through who you are when no one's watching. Through the stories you repeat when the door is closed. Through what your body does when uncertainty arises. Does it constrict or expand? Does it brace or trust? That's your signal. And it's being read constantly by the quantum field, which doesn't wait for declarations. It mirrors your dominant state. So how do you shift the signal in real life? Not just for a few minutes during meditation, but in the chaos, the quiet, the confusion. You start by becoming aware of what you're already broadcasting. What is your baseline emotional home? Not the peaks or the rehearsed moments, but the space you unconsciously return to. Stress, scarcity, shame. That's where your energy lives. And unless you shift your emotional home, no amount of mental rehearsing will stick. Integration starts with presence. If you can't be here fully, you can't manifest from here. Because now is the only place the field can meet you. That means less escape, more embodiment. Less numbing, more noticing. When fear shows up, don't push it down. Get curious. What is it protecting you from? What timeline is it anchoring you to? The goal isn't to eliminate fear, but to stop letting it decide who you are. And then there's the nervous system, the unsung foundation of all manifestation work. You can't receive beyond what your body feels safe to hold. That's the hard truth. You can imagine success all day, but if your system has been wired for disappointment, it will quietly sabotage anything that threatens to break the cycle. So you regulate. Not for performance, but for safety. Grounding practices, breath work, body awareness, not to raise your vibration, but to stabilize it. Start disrupting old identity patterns. Notice when you're reacting like the person who never wins, who always struggles, who's waiting for the next disappointment. That's a loop. Break it. Do something differently. Sit differently. Speak differently. Say no when you usually say yes. Say yes when you usually retreat. Your identity is just a practiced frequency. Practice a new one. Not through pretense, but through deliberate being. And perhaps the most powerful shift? Stop asking, how do I get there? And start asking, who am I being now? Because everything you're chasing lives on a timeline where you're already that person. Your job isn't to get to that timeline. It's to become so congruent with it that the field has no choice but to respond. Manifestation, then, is no longer a thing you do. It becomes a side effect of who you are. When doubt creeps in, and it will, don't fight it. Witness it. Integrate it. Then choose again. Each time you choose alignment over fear, presence over reaction, being over chasing, you're shifting signal. Not instantly, not always dramatically, but consistently. And consistency is how you rewire the subconscious. That's the true work. Quiet, powerful, invisible, but the field sees it all. And here's the secret no one wants to admit. Most people don't fail at manifestation because they don't know how. It's because they never truly become the version of themselves who can live in what they asked for. They try to manifest from the same identity that created the lack. They want new results while staying emotionally and energetically loyal to the old story. Break the loyalty, burn the script. Stop being the person who is trying, hoping, wishing, and start embodying the version of you who knows, who walks differently, breathes differently, decides differently, Because when you become that person, not as an act, but as a reality, the field doesn't resist you. It recognizes you. Most people approach manifestation like it's a formula to crack or a task to complete, another item on their self-improvement checklist. They're looking for the shortcut, the missing ritual, the perfect combination of affirmations and visualizations that will finally unlock the life they're chasing. But here's the truth. Manifestation isn't a hustle. It's not something you do. It's a frequency you embody. It's who you are when the masks fall away. And most people are too busy performing for the universe to actually be in resonance with it. This isn't about hustling your way into your dream life. Hustle is a product of scarcity. It's rooted in the belief that you are not enough as you are, that you must prove, perform, and push in order to receive. But the quantum field doesn't reward hustle. It reflects harmony. And harmony isn't loud. It doesn't strive. It just is. When you start treating manifestation like a performance, you create distortion. You're sending mixed signals. I am abundant, while acting from fear. I trust, while checking the results every 5 minutes. The field picks up all of it. Not just the words you speak, but the energy behind them. A frequency isn't something you mimic. It's something you return to over and over again. In silence, in stillness, in chaos. It's the signal you're being broadcasts when you're not trying to get anything. That's the irony of it all. The less you try to manipulate your external reality, the more it begins to shape itself around your internal truth, because control is noise. And the field doesn't respond to noise. It responds to clarity. This is the shift from doing to being, from forcing life to trusting it, from obsessing over the outcome to refining the signal. You don't have to chase. You don't have to fake it. You just have to become so internally coherent that your presence speaks louder than any affirmation ever could. That kind of frequency is rare, but it's also magnetic. People feel it. Opportunities bend toward it. Timelines collapse for it. This is not about abandoning desire. It's about unhooking your worth from the outcome. When you no longer need the thing to feel whole, you become the version of yourself who can actually receive it. That's why it shows up. Not because you finally figured out the perfect strategy, but because you stopped broadcasting the energy of lack. You stopped trying to get, and started remembering you already are. The mistake people make is trying to live as someone they're not, hoping it will create a new life. But your reality is always mirroring the truth of your current identity. If you believe deep down that life is hard, that you're not enough, that success comes with struggle, the field doesn't judge those beliefs. It simply reflects them. So the work isn't in faking confidence or rehearsing abundance. It's in dissolving the internal contradictions, releasing the programs that distort your signal, returning to the essence of who you were before the world told you what was possible. You don't need to raise your vibration through constant doing. You need to stop leaking energy through misalignment, through living someone else's script, through pretending to be what you think will get you results. That's not resonance. That's performance. And performance is exhausting. Presence, however, is powerful. Presence is where the field responds instantly, because presence is the clearest signal of all. So the next time you catch yourself trying to manifest something, stop and ask, am I trying to control, or am I allowing myself to align? Am I forcing this into being, or am I becoming the version of me who naturally receives it? Because when you're in the right frequency, you don't have to chase, you don't have to manipulate, you don't even have to try. Life begins to organize itself around you, not as a reward, but as a reflection. Not a hack, not a hustle, a frequency. There's a moment in this journey, quiet but undeniable, where you realize that all the tools, techniques, and teachings you've gathered have only ever been pointing to one thing: your own awareness. Not awareness as in surface-level mindfulness, but the deeper kind, the kind that watches the watcher, that notices not just what you think, but who is doing the thinking. This is the pivot point. The shift from external seeking to internal awakening. The moment you stop looking for the path and start becoming the one walking it. Awakening isn't a dramatic lightning bolt or a perfect morning routine. It's a decision you make over and over again to remember who you really are underneath the programming. The field doesn't respond to who you pretend to be when things are going well. It responds to who you remain when things get uncomfortable. Can you stay present when fear shows up? Can you stay soft when life tightens? Can you choose alignment even when no one else is watching? Because here's the thing, every moment is an invitation. You are either reinforcing the old version of you, the one who doubts, delays, and performs, or you are collapsing into the new identity. And no one else will know when you do it. You won't get applause. You won't get a badge. You'll just feel something different, a subtle, powerful click inside you, a recognition. You are no longer trying to shift your reality, you are the shift. And that's when life starts to reflect the change. Not always in fireworks. Sometimes it's quieter than that. A phone call, a door opening, a weight lifting. You'll know it not by what shows up, but by how you feel when it does. You're not surprised. You're not scrambling to hold on to it. You're calm. You're steady. You're in coherence. That's the sign you're finally broadcasting the right signal, because the right signal doesn't need to convince, it simply attracts. But don't be fooled. The old identity will try to pull you back. It will whisper doubts. It will remind you of who you used to be. It'll say, "This won't last," or "You're faking it," or "You need to do more." That's the echo of the version of you who survived by staying small. Let it speak. And then, let it pass. You're not here to silence the old. You're here to outgrow it. To choose, moment by moment, to stop living in reaction to the past. This is where the deeper work lives. Not in rituals or rigid routines, but in awareness. In catching yourself mid-thought and choosing again. In pausing before reacting. In noticing when you slip into performance and choosing presence instead. That's embodiment. That's quantum integrity. And the more often you do this, the more automatic it becomes. Not because you're forcing a new habit, but because you're remembering who you were before you forgot. This path isn't about becoming better. It's about becoming real. About peeling back the layers, not stacking more on. Awakening isn't something that happens to you. It's a choice you make, to stop pretending, to stop performing, and to live from the truth of who you are. And that truth is magnetic. It doesn't chase, it doesn't prove, it simply is. And in that isness, the field does what it's always done. It mirrors you. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for the next sign, the next teaching, the next validation. The moment is now. The power has always been yours. The shift doesn't come from understanding more. It comes from being differently. And the more you are, the less you need to do. It ends where it began. Not with another technique, not with another thing to do, but with a quiet remembering, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And what you are is always speaking louder than what you say, always. For most, this truth is inconvenient. It pulls the rug out from under the whole performance, because it means you can't trick the universe with a smile while your body trembles in fear. You can't rehearse gratitude while quietly drowning in resentment. You can't write affirmations in the morning and spend the rest of the day reinforcing the opposite with every unconscious choice. The quantum field isn't fooled by intention. It responds to being, and being is the one thing you can't fake. This is why nothing changes until you do. Not because you're broken or not enough, but because what you're aligned with is what you'll always receive. There's no punishment, no judgment. Just perfect, unwavering reflection. The field doesn't ask what you want, it asks who you are. And that answer is found in your nervous system, your choices, your emotional baseline, your default reactions, not in your vision board. So the work becomes simple, not easy, but simple. You stop trying to manipulate the external. You stop chasing what hasn't yet arrived. You stop bargaining with life to give you what you're not prepared to hold. And you start tuning your frequency, not by pretending, but by aligning. Not by becoming someone else, but by remembering who you were before the world taught you to want from a place of lack. This is how timelines collapse, not through obsession, but through embodiment, through the subtle shift from asking to knowing, from reaching to receiving, from forcing to trusting. And that shift doesn't need fanfare. It doesn't need witnesses. The quantum doesn't care if anyone claps. It only needs coherence. That's all it's ever needed. When you truly become the version of you who already has it, not through fantasy, but through internal congruence, the field responds instantly, because it always has. The delay wasn't in the quantum. It was in your frequency, your static, your resistance. The gap was never outside you. It was you. Let that truth settle. Let it liberate you. Because it means the next shift doesn't depend on what happens out there. It depends on what you decide to embody right now, today, in this breath. Every choice is a broadcast. Every response is a declaration. And every time you choose coherence over chaos, alignment over fear, embodiment over performance, you collapse another version of reality into form. So stop looking outside. Stop waiting for permission. The version of you who already lives the life you want is not out there. They're a frequency waiting for you to remember. And when you do, life doesn't have to be forced anymore. It simply meets you where you are. That's what we're building inside Insights Academy, a space where we strip away the fluff and get to the real work: clarity, embodiment, and transformation. It's free, and for a limited time you'll also get a digital copy of the Kybalion when you sign up. But this isn't about ebooks or newsletters. It's about stepping into the version of yourself who no longer waits. Link in the description. Join us. You were never meant to hustle your way into alignment. You were meant to remember, to regulate, to ground, and to choose, again and again, from a place of clarity. That's when everything begins to move, not because you forced it, but because you finally matched the signal of the life that was already waiting for you. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it."